Tackle Junkies, what's going on, everyone? Really appreciate you guys and gals for clicking on the video. Excited to come to you guys today from the Crestliner out here, I guess you could call it, on my home lake. Fishing's pretty tough as expected, but you guys were very interested in the video on how to toss lighter lures with casting gear. And now I'm not talking about like BFS. Of course, you can toss lighter lures with that equipment. What we're talking about is basically your, basic casting gear, with lighter lures. Really, when you're hovering, when your lure rate is hovering right around that minimum weight rating on the rod, that's when you need to use this technique, okay? And what we're tossing today, this is the chick magnet. That's the junior size, okay? And I believe it's right around 1/4 ounce. This rod here, this is the Akuma Guide Select. It's a medium power, and I said this in the past. To me, it has more of a medium heavy feel. And the lure rating is 3/16 to 3/4. So you at least want to meet that minimum rating. But like I said, once you get around that minimum rating, it can be a bit tricky to toss lighter lures. Now, obviously, if you have a light enough rod, if you're using light enough pound test, or really a brand that has a smaller diameter. We talked about that in a recent video. I'll link it down below. Like this here is Seaguar InvizX, but it has a pretty small diameter. I'm running 15-pound test. Okay, and I can get away with that just because the diameter is pretty small. Now, if I was running 12-pound Seaguar InvizX, I could cast it even further. But just pay attention to the brand that you're using, because the line diameter is going to play a pretty big role in this. So you want to use fairly light line to get some distance on this, okay? But like I said, this is a medium power mod fast. It's a cranking rod from Akuma, the Guide Select cranking rod here. And like I said, the chick magnet, the junior chick magnet here is like 1/4 ounce. So this rod here will load a 3/16. But again, when you try to cast like you normally would, when you're right around that minimum, weight rating there, it could cause a backlash. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys a technique today that allows you to toss, lighter lures with your traditional casting gear, again, when you're right around that minimum weight rating. We are running, this is the Daiwa Zillion SVTW. I got a review on this reel. I'll link it down below. Definitely check it out. My favorite reel here of 2022. Now, like I said, the rod plays a big role, the line, and of course the reel does as well. If you have, like I said, a light enough rod, light enough line, and a reel that tosses lighter lures, again, we're not talking BFS, you can do this no problem. But when you have just, let's say, one rod to work with, and like I said, it's not the ideal combo, this is the technique that you need to do here. But some other good reels that toss lighter lures really well, the Shimano SLX, the Akuma Hakai, that's a great one as well. Tatula SV. The Zillion does a good job, but I don't believe it does as good as the other three. Fantastic reel here, but just not perfect for, lighter lures. But it really, with this technique, it has no problem at all tossing that little 1/4 ounce crank. So anyways, we are going to head up to this rock point here, and I'll show you guys the technique to toss lighter lures on casting gear. So like we said, we are dealing with a 1/4 ounce lure and a rod that loads at 3/16. The point of this technique is to get the rod to load, okay? It doesn't matter if you're tossing lighter lures or heavier lures. If you don't load the tip, you're going to have a backlash, okay? Now, first thing to keep in mind is the distance from the lure to the tip of the rod. I'd say usually, 10 or 12 inches or so is what I run normally. But on this technique, you want to leave down just a bit more line. I'm going to say anywhere from like 12 to, 16, 18 inches. That extra length is going to help load the tip, okay? Now I'm going to make an overhand cast here, okay? You can see that you can totally do it. Didn't get a ton of distance. I didn't really try, but you can cast, over your head, right? The problem is if you have any wind or if that lure stalls at all, okay? So as you cast, as that lure is coming down, or like I said, if the wind catches it, it's going to stall that lure and the spool is still spinning fast. That's going to cause a backlash. So really what you want to do is a quick sidearm cast and keep it low to the water, okay? Imagine like Indiana Jones, all right? Indiana Jones with his whip. That's basically what you're trying to do. Just imagine that your rod is a whip, all right? That's what you're trying to do. Low to the water, anywhere from, like I said, probably 12 to 18 inches, a quick sidearm cast, and you want to release a bit earlier just because you are casting a bit faster, okay? So again, 12 to 18 inches here, like so. Good distance, no backlash, and we just casted a 1/4 ounce lure, right, on a rod that loads a 3/16. And like I said earlier, I'm not saying this can't be done. If you have the right combo, you know, a bit lighter line, lighter rod, and a reel that handles lighter lures much better, there's no issues. But when you have a combo, like I said, that's kind of like borderline the right combo, this is what you need to do here to be able to cast those lighter lures. Just a quick sidearm snap. Again, good distance. Keep it low to the water. And just make sure you release a bit earlier. If you don't, your lure is going to go much further to the side. Again, I'll show you here. You can go, of course, over your head. Make sure you definitely feather the spool if you're going over your head. It is a bit trickier, but the ideal cast for a lighter lure with casting gear is that quick sidearm snap. Again, just imagine you're Indiana Jones. If you guys are new to baitcasters, I also have plenty of videos on my channel of how to use a baitcaster. I'll link them down below as well. Definitely check it out. But you can see great distance there, quick sidearm cast, release a bit early, keep it low to the water, and you won't have any issues with those lighter lures. I mean, that's more than enough distance for shallow cranking or, you know, whatever you might be doing with a lighter lure. My release is dead on. My lure is right in front of me, right where it should be. We'll go overhand here real fast just because we don't want to get in that tree. Again, you can see it can be done, but just keep in mind, if you do have some wind or that lure stalls at all, there's a good chance you could have a backlash. The chances are much less with that quick sidearm. That should wrap it up. Hopefully now you can toss lighter lures with your casting gear. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to smash the thumbs up. Love you guys. We will see you guys on the next one.